All right, in case you missed the news, I am back in training camp. That means I have approximately 10 weeks to prep up for my next fight. This is week number 1, sparring from the other day. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I'm feeling a little bit rusty. Things aren't feeling fantastic, but that's super normal for me because I basically don't do any striking training between camps. That is not what I would suggest for people who are trying to learn, trying to get actively better. But for myself, what I've learned over the years is my body cannot maintain strong training, hard training all the time. The injuries are too severe. So I take time off, focus on cross training, stay in shape. And then week number 1 and week number 2 are to start getting the timing back, get the eyesight focused, be less scared of techniques coming at you. I end up blinking a decent amount in these early rounds just because getting punched at is not something that's fantastic. It's not nice. So you can see here, the pace is fairly moderate. We're moving around, we're not slamming each other. My sparring partner here, his name is Suraj, and he has been fighting for quite a while now. I want to say that he's probably about 5 to 7 years younger than me, but he has a lot of fights. He's very skilled, has a couple amateur world titles. One of the best guys in town to move with because he has that karate background and he has the control which is necessary to keep everything at a nice controlled pace. Nobody gets injured, especially at this gym, Martial Arts Unlimited. I come and do a lot of my training sessions here. Everybody is super nice. Everybody is going to make sure there's not damage, there's no egos. Great place to come and train in Victoria. Probably do a session or 2 here a week in the middle of my training camps. So there's round number 1 done, completed. We're just doing 2-minute rounds because Suraj is prepping up for a fight in November and he's going to be doing 2-minute rounds. And for myself, at this point, I'm just trying to get back in shape, so there's no need for me in week number 1 to be doing those 3-minute rounds. Let's move on to number 2, round number 2. One of the things that I find slips the most, where I start to lack in the breaks between fight camps, is just the ability to string punches together and not be worried about getting countered. Whereas when I'm in training camp, I'm okay stepping in, throwing 5 or 6 shots, and if the counter comes, I'm usually really good at blocking it. And again, that comes back to the eyesight. Just a little bit too much blinking as you enter, not staying perfectly focused on the techniques. What you can do to improve your eyesight, and I've talked about this before on the channel, is just back yourself up to a space where you can't move backwards anymore, and you just have somebody throw light shots at you, and you just work 100% defense, getting those eyes focused and getting comfortable on attacks coming towards your head and body, and low kicks, I guess, too, if you're gonna mix those in. So just a beautiful pace here, right? This is not what I'm gonna maintain the whole fight camp, and I need to be very upfront about that because I don't want anybody thinking that this pace here will get you through to the fight and give you that victory, unless you're just super skilled and somebody who can just play in sparring. But I would say if I was gonna give a percentage, that right now we're probably going about 40–50%. That will up easily to sort of 70–80% as we get further on in camp. My cardio gets better, the timing gets better, and in my opinion, it's very important to start slow because right now we can both avoid injuries. We can avoid with either person leaving damaged. If we were to do 70 or 80%, somebody's gonna get hurt. But as the timing starts to sharpen up, we can go 70–80% and both of us very rarely will get tagged and we're both very safe. And here we move into round number 3. You can tell I'm still utilizing that tight Dutch guard, like boxing glove style. And everybody knows that with karate combat, I'm fighting in smaller gloves. But for the last fight, I utilized palms to my head. But my goal in this camp is to get better at head movement. You guys saw me do some drilling the other day where we were focusing on head movement. I want to get a little better at that so I can incorporate it into the fight and not have to always block through those little 4-ounce gloves. But that will come as we progress in camp, as everything gets focused. I don't want to work on that right now. That's too early. We just start slow. Get the timing back, get the rhythm, get comfortable. Next week I'll start picking it up. But for this week, just a comfortable, relaxed pace. Look at that nice rainbow kick from Suraj. Let's watch him for a moment. Like I said, it's hard to find good sparring partners who are around your skill level, your size, and don't want to hurt you. He's one of the guys that I do my sparring with, and I know I can come in and not get damaged, but at the same point, he can still challenge me. One of the things that he's very good at is moving his head backwards out of the way. He's very evasive. In addition to that, he has a mean high kick. They come out of nowhere. You could be in tight in the pocket and they can land. It can also be from the outside, and his counters are on point too. And that's really good for working with somebody because you know if you enter, you've got to be on point with keeping the other hand up. Otherwise, you're going to get tagged. And as I mentioned before, he has that karate background, years and years of getting his black belt, training, slowly transitioning to kickboxing. That's why he has the nice kicks. And here we go, round number 4. As I mentioned, we're only doing 2-minute rounds, which is fine by me because I still need to get back in shape. But what I find a lot of times is lower volume is a little bit better for decreasing the chance of injury. And nice little tag there from him. What we want to make sure we're doing is putting in the good rounds, making sure everything feels sharp, go fast. But I find when you start going up to 10, 12 rounds, it's just too easy for people to get injured. So I just like keeping things fairly moderate, push the 5, 6 rounds, and then call it a day and focus on drills. 5 or 6 rounds in drills for me is something that's perfect. I can get out and be ready to go the next day. As opposed to in the past where we would spar 10, 12 rounds, you'd leave with so many little injuries or sometimes big injuries. It's just not something that I like doing anymore. And I'm not sure if I would advise everybody to do the same as me, but I'm not going to go back to sparring enormous amounts. Mostly in addition because we know now that a lot of damage that we take in fight sports comes from being in the gym. So if you can spar at this nice pace, not take any major damage, and at the same time decrease the volume of the sparring, so you take even less, then you're setting yourself up for a nice long career, like myself, 37, still going, feeling good, and at the same time, just knowing that when you're done your fight career, you're not going to be drooling out of one side of your mouth. And I hope you guys really enjoy just watching this sparring, and what I really hope happens is people see this, they share it, and then what they can do from that is go, oh, we're going to spar like this most of the time, and just decrease that risk of injury. And like I said, as we get further in camp, it'll pick up a little bit, but I don't think there's been any time when I've been at Martial Arts Unlimited where anybody's been dramatically hurt. The worst injury I took while sparring here was a little elbow. It was a hook that I leaned back on, the hand missed, and then I went back in for the counter and the elbow caught me and I got a little cut. And that was, frustrating. But not a big deal because it didn't involve stitches, that one. That was actually about, I think, 4 weeks before my karate combat debut. And it's just something which you kind of go, oh, okay, you know what? I have a little cut. I'll let it heal up. Take an extra week or something where you don't take shots there. But yeah, overall, for the amount of times I've sparred with these guys and the little amount of damage I've taken, we're doing really well. And I hope everybody just learns from watching these rounds, puts the ego aside, goes in, moves. Suraj and I, just no ego, just having fun, helping each other learn, both looking sharp. And keep in mind, this is, for me, my first week back. And for him, I think he's fairly early in his fight camp as well. So give us another 3-4 weeks. If I film again, we'll be looking probably 50% better, 50% faster, but again, avoiding that damage. So I'm gonna leave you guys here to watch the remainder of the sparring without me talking over it. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please give it a like. If you have not already, join the channel, get subscribed. Let me know in the comments if you like seeing this sparring, if it's something that I should continue to film throughout the duration of fight camp. Would you like to see drilling, sparring, clenching? What's the priority for you? The more insight I have, the more information from you, the more I can give you that content, which you guys are just thrilled to see, and will keep you around the channel having a blast. All right, guys, I'm out. Enjoy the remainder of the round, and I'll see you back here soon.